not quite, but also I kind of figured it was going to be like that, honestly. You know, I heard Canelo say in the interview, like, I don't really like fighting guys who move around that much like that, and William Scole being a Cuban fighter, like, I knew he was going to do that. And so was curious to see, you know, how Canelo...
They announced it on Saturday after the whole Canelo fight, and I don't understand. This is a big fight. I don't know. I'm a boxing fan. I'm a UFC boxing fan. I'm a fan. But this fight, I ain't gonna lie, it might cause a little race war between blacks and Mexicans because, you know, Canelo's fans is kind of crazy. But
it's September between the two great fighters in our generation.
Terence Crawford just sent a clear and powerful message to Canelo Alvarez during a recent live stream. Looking directly into the camera, Crawford didn't mince words. In September, I'm going to show the world what greatness looks like. This wasn't a casual remark or a vague prediction. It was a direct shot at Canelo. Crawford wasn't speaking about the distant future. He was announcing his next move. This fight isn't a side quest for him. It's the mission. And he's...
Big weight jump, a dangerous fight, but somebody's got to prove to me that they can break Terence Crawford's will and that he can't figure it out against you. You know, it ain't no disrespect toward Canelo, but I've said this the last couple of years. I'm not betting against Terence Crawford against nobody right now. You got to show me that you can beat him.
Terence Crawford delivered a bold and unmistakable message to Canelo Alvarez during a recent live stream. Staring straight into the camera, he declared, "In September, I'm going to show the world what greatness looks like." This wasn't a throwaway comment or a generic statement. It was a direct challenge aimed squarely at Canelo. Crawford made it clear, this fight isn't some distant dream or optional detour. It's the next chapter. And when he steps into the ring, it won't be just to prove he belongs. He's coming to take it all.
Good. Really good. But I think Crawford is special. I know he hasn't fought the resume everyone wants, but you have that or you don't have that ingredient. I think he has it. Canelo's really good. He's tremendous. But could he be a tiny bit overrated? The greatness is within Crawford. It's in his desire. It's in his mind. It's in his makeup, where he came from. I know he's moving up in weight class. Can he carry it?
Crawford's confidence doesn't come from hope. It's rooted in a proven track record. And he's not shy about showing it. In a recent online jab, he posted, "Now don't make daddy take his belt off, son. You've been a good boy lately. Don't make papa mad now." On the surface, it sounded playful, but the message underneath was anything but. Crawford sees himself as the one in control, and he clearly views Canelo's recent performances as lacking the fire of his prime. In Crawford's eyes, the Canelo of today isn't the same force he was 4 or 5 years ago, and come fight night, Crawford believes he'll expose that decline for all to see.
I know Crawford and his fans would have never in their life allowed Crawford to fight 36 rounds with Canelo. I know Crawford and his fans will never in their life ask him to fight David Benavidez. I know Crawford and his fans will never in their life ask to fight Dimitri Bivol. We're talking like, about, I'm not done, my friend, because you're like on, that weed is real. I need some of that weed because, you know, we're talking about a dude that moved up 2 divisions.
Oscar De La Hoya, who knows both fighters well.
Oscar De La Hoya, who knows both fighters well, recently shared his thoughts on the potential showdown set for September 13th. Crawford is very, he's not one-dimensional. He can move, he can box, De La Hoya said. "I just don't know how hard he hits, if he can hit hard enough to keep Canelo off him, but it's going to be very interesting." De La Hoya's uncertainty isn't about Crawford's skill. He respects that. The real question heading into this fight is power. Can Crawford make Canelo respect what's coming at him? That may be the deciding factor.
I feel I got the speed over Canelo. I got the reach over him. He might got the size, the power. I got the better skills, boxing skills.
would it be more of a cat and mouse? The reality is Canelo does put people out. From Kirkland to Amir Khan to just...
Don't do
obviously,
I'm just saying, man.
No, but he's not Kovalev.
De La Hoya admitted he's genuinely excited for the fight, even if he's unsure how it will play out. The matchup sparks real curiosity. Crawford has turned many skeptics into believers, but stepping in against someone who's been competing at super middleweight for years is a different kind of challenge. He's not just going up against a bigger name, He's facing a naturally bigger, stronger opponent. Manny Pacquiao, a legend who knows the risks of jumping weight classes better than most, offered some straightforward advice to Crawford in a recent conversation. When asked what he'd tell the Omaha native, Pacquiao responded simply, "My advice is that he needs to focus on speed. That's the problem when you move up in weight. Your speed and power can fade. So he needs to focus on that."
Spaceman Films. What up, Biz? Who you got? Canelo Crawford.
Yeah, got Canelo. I heard the punches that he hit Charlo with. I don't know if Crawford can absorb those punches. I know he's a great man and a great warrior. But you come from 147 to put on a better fight than Charlo. I mean, I don't even know what that means. I don't know if that means that Crawford is so great and he can do that, or that means that Charlo set the bar so damn low that anybody could do better than Charlo did last night.
Do skill really pay the bill? Because that would be pesky.
Pay the bill. That's why Canelo feels for too.
That's the key to Crawford's chances.
That's the key to Crawford's chances. He won't win this fight with size or sheer power. If he's going to beat Canelo, it'll be with speed, precision, and superior ring IQ. Crawford's entire style is built around angles, timing, and control. He's never needed brute strength to dominate. But at 168 pounds, against a man who's been exchanging punches with heavy hitters for years, those tools will be pushed to the limit. Former WBA super middleweight champion George Groves, who knows the division inside and out, remains skeptical. He's not convinced Crawford can bridge the physical gap. "I can't see how Canelo doesn't win," Groves said. "He's had a lot of fights now, but there don't seem to be too many. Miles on the clock."
Yeah, that's a nice division. You got a lot of tough fighters in that division. Yeah. Of course, Crawford came in there, and he got one match in, and now he's moving on to fight the big one, Canelo.
Yeah.
How do you see that fight, man?
And I mean, I got it even, to be honest. I mean, Canelo's got definitely more fight experience.
Groves pointed out that while Canelo may not be the biggest super middleweight, he's fully grown into the division. His body is now built to handle the physical demands at 168 pounds. Crawford, on the other hand, only recently moved up to 154, and now he's making another big leap. For Groves, that's a serious red flag. "I can't see him putting any physical dent in Canelo," Groves said. Crawford is an amazing fighter, an astute, clever boxer with almost every shot in the book. His balance is tremendous, but I think this is a step too far. It's a sentiment echoed by many in the sport. They respect Crawford's skill and admire his ambition, but they worry this jump might be one bridge too far. Not because he lacks talent, but because weight. Classes exist for a reason. Physics, not just ability, could be the deciding factor.
I think Bud gonna cook Canelo. I think he's gonna cook him. I think, Canelo a hell of a fighter, but I think Bud just got all the tools to beat him.
Yeah. You don't think the weight difference is gonna be too big of an advantage?
I think y'all make that something, in certain fights,
boxing makes it something, not us.
like if this was like a Benavidez, he's actually a lot bigger than Bud, so that would apply. But I feel like with Canelo, he's physically kind of big, but height-wise. Yeah.
Still, not everyone sees it the same way. Sugar Ray Leonard, a 5-division world champion who built his legacy on taking bold risks, shared his perspective during a May 22nd interview. When asked whether the size difference was too much for Crawford, Leonard didn't dismiss the danger, but he wasn't ready to count him out either. "I mean, that's always a factor," Leonard said, acknowledging the challenge. But with fighters like Crawford, guys with that kind of skill, that kind of intelligence, you can't ever rule them out. He knows how to adapt. Leonard's take reflects a more optimistic view, that elite talent and ring IQ can sometimes defy conventional limits, even against the odds.
What about Crawford do you think can bridge the weight gap? Or with you, what did bridge the weight gap? Because a lot of people are just saying, hey, Canelo's just too big for someone like Terence.
That's true, but you know what? There's always a way. Put it that there's always a way. There's always a way to win.
Bob Arum, the veteran promoter who has worked closely with both fighters over the years, offered a different perspective, one that didn't question Crawford, but rather turned the spotlight on Canelo. Canelo has shown in his last few fights that he's just a businessman, Arum said in a recent interview. He's not in there to entertain the public. He just takes the big check. Arum wasn't being disrespectful. He was being blunt. He's watched Canelo evolve from a fierce, aggressive puncher into a more measured, calculated fighter, someone who fights with the bottom line in mind. And in Arum's view, that transformation could be a liability against someone like Crawford, who still fights with urgency, hunger, and something to prove.
Let me tell you what I think should be gone. The notion that Terence Bud Crawford should move up 3 weight classes, 21 pounds, to fight Canelo Alvarez. He's entirely too small. Jermell Charlo already proved that. Y'all remember that scene from Rocky? Remember that scene from Rocky 2? When Carl Weathers was Apollo Creed and his trainer was like, can I be honest?
He added, if Canelo really fights, because I think it's safe to say that Terence always fights, he doesn't know anything else, then it could be a very interesting fight. For Arum, the real question isn't whether Crawford will show up ready. It's which version of Canelo will step into the ring. Will it be the cautious veteran who plays it safe, or the younger warrior who once traded hard shots without hesitation? Arum wrapped up by voicing what many fans have been wondering. Who is the real Canelo? The one looking to cash a big check, or the fighter who truly wants to fight? The Canelo we've seen over the past 2 years hasn't just been boring. It seems like he lacks the incentive to mix it up and put on an exciting, competitive fight.
Canelo has shown in his last few fights that he's just a businessman. He's not in there to entertain the public. He just takes the big check. But again, if Canelo really fights, because I think it's safe to say Terence always fights. He doesn't know anything else. So then it could be a very good, interesting fight.
That question looms large over the fight. It's not just about styles clashing, but motivation. Crawford is hungry, driven by a desire to prove himself. He views this as a defining moment for his legacy. Canelo, despite his impressive resume, hasn't shown that same fire lately. If that trend continues, Crawford could find the opening he needs. But make no mistake, Crawford isn't treating this fight like a payday. His recent live warning wasn't for show. It was a clear statement of purpose. He's been climbing the ranks steadily, dominating at 140, clearing out 147, moving up to 154 without hesitation. Now he's skipping 160 altogether to challenge the reigning king at 168. This is the next step in his journey, and he's coming to win.